always needed to go through the wormhole. October 2019 was the last time I had something to drink, along with other substances. But this is not my first rodeo. The book talks about no other bankruptcy. And if you've ever filed bankruptcy, you know there is chapter 7, but you still got something left. There is a chapter 11, and you still got something left. There is a chapter 13, and you still have something left. But when they say liquidation of all assets, then you're in trouble. And so I think that for many of us, in order that we take step 1, where the book talks about driven to AA, there we discovered our fatal situation. It says, then, and only then, do we become open-minded to conviction. And then I'm willing to listen, as the dying can be. Then I stand ready. So that usually means that I'm going to make it in here. My hair is gray now. My teeth are not mine. And my eyesight is dim. And I hurt all over. And so I was born in Monroe, Louisiana. I am the third of 6, 5 boys, 1 girl. My sister was the eldest. Now, mind you that my mother, my grandmother, and most of my family were Christians. But Mama was full of the Holy Ghost. Now, I always knew what that was, because from birth I have been trying to unfix me. I always had a fixed plan down on the inside. I knew it from birth. I could read anything and understand. No one taught me how to read. I just could read. I could spell. You tell me the word, I would syllabatize it. Didn't know how I knew all of that stuff. But then once I began to read and understand what was going on with me, I said, oh no, this is not going that way. I'm going to do me. There's a thing that comes on when they played the new Samson movie. And the prophet tells Samson, hey, look, God says he's going to use you as his instrument. It is his will. Samson said, yeah, that may be his will, but that ain't my will. And so that's how I came up. Church was fine. All of that stuff was fine, but I always knew that I was not like my sisters and brothers. When I was around my friends in high school, I knew. So I sought to unfix that. The first time I put something in me, it was beer. What is it? Malt liquor. Old English 800. It was all right, but it just didn't do what I was looking for. Don't know what I was looking for, but I knew that didn't do it. The next time I drank, it was Seagram's 7, half pint. And everywhere in Louisiana, you could buy liquor. It didn't make no difference. It was at 18, you could buy liquor in Louisiana. There was no ABC store. Every store on our streets had alcohol in it. And that was my preference. But it still didn't get me where I was trying to go. I don't know why But something on the inside kept saying, but there's another place. So I put in a couple of half of pints. This time I switched from Seagram 7 to Seagram VO. And Seagram, Canadian Mist, all of the Seagrams. Didn't like white. White made me fight. Couldn't stand white liquor. But I would drink it if I had nothing else. But my preference was the brown. But it would not get me where I was going. Only when I put, I don't get it how the children today, when they're smoking marijuana, green alcohol, so to speak, how you smoke blunt after blunt after blunt. We smoke stuff like Sesamilia, Colombian Gold, Acapulco Gold, half a hit and you hit. And so when I put that with my alcohol, I said, now this is what I tried to be at. But I was still trying to go through the wormhole. And wormhole requires warp speed. And I tell a lot of my sponsees that when they try to differentiate between the alcohol or the drug, I say they both are the same. One's a 747 and the other's a F-15. One needs more runway while the other don't do nothing. Just and you're there. And so that's what I was trying to do. I never wanted to hang around the atmosphere. And as long as I can do that, then I'm okay with Walter. I can fit in with my peers and this and that. But every time I opened my mouth, they could hear God. I didn't like that. It put me in that place where Step 7 talks about self-centered fear. And so as a result, when I got ready to go to the military, Mama said, well, what you gonna do? Because I barely made it out of high school because I started skipping school, started drinking, I started stealing all of the band funding money just so I could hang out. I said, Mama, I want to go see the world. She takes me to the MEP stations, 1982. By then, I'm a world-class drinker. Hell, I'm 17. It's on. On the airplane I went. 747. From the time the plane took off until I made it to Alaska, I was drunk. Got off, and there's a portion in the big book where Bill talks about the starlit night. Well, I happened to run upon the aurora borealis. I'm already lit up now. And I seen the aurora borealis, and it was as if the sky was sitting just like this. Judgment was coming out. Oh, I got to get back inside. I stumbled back inside, drank a little bit more. Made it to Japan. Coffee was too high, so I need something to drink then. Coffee was $5 a cup in the airport of Okinawa. Give me a shot of whiskey. That's where I was. From the time I left Monroe, Louisiana, until the time I landed in Korea, I had been drinking. And then there were days, I was on the DMZ, so everywhere around me was nothing but bombs. World War I and Korean bombs all around us. And in those quonset huts, there was only a little enough trail just for you to make it back to your barracks. I am totally plastered, walking through minefields. Never thought once about I could walk off the path and get blown up. But that's what I told myself. That's what soldiers did. That's what combat soldiers did. We fought hard. We played hard. We drank hard. And every time we would drink hard like that, the first son would run us till we were almost dead. Run all the alcohol out you. That didn't work for Walter. I got to put more in me. And that's what I did. Throughout my military career, all I did was drink. And then I got into other substances. At one time, they had Grey Goose. And by this time, when I made it back from Korea, my friend from New Jersey said, "Brooks." And I said to him, "What is it?" "I'm drunk." "What is it?" He said, "I just did cocaine for the first time." My response was, "How did it make you feel?" He said, "I feel like $1 million." I said, "Well, I want to feel like $1 million." By then, I'm already a fifth in. Going to the bathroom, I'm landed and I'm in California now at 18. Went and got what I wanted. And when that substance mixed with Jack Daniels, complete engage, wormhole. So I sought out that level, but I just couldn't get there. Each time it started to cost me more. It started to cost me damn near court martials. The price tag of trying to escape Walter started to cost too much. At one time, and then they tell me, I said, "Well, maybe if I could just get in the jungle, get on some island. Maybe by this time I'm 23. Had not been told all of the damage I've already done to Mama, because I've made Mama lose 2 homes in this process. She had not told us that she had cancer. She's 45. She ain't said nothing. Here I am trying to escape. So I said, well, maybe if I can just get to a jungle or somewhere, it won't find me. I'll be damned. In the jungles of Honduras was 190 proof, along with white alcohol in the jungle. So I couldn't get out. And by the time I was 23, my friend, I heard a still small voice that said, "You know you're trapped and you cannot get out." Justin, I kept saying, "Yeah, I'm Brooks. The general loves me." He did. He loved me until I was screwing up. And I tried to fix me over and over and over and over. I couldn't fix me. And I recall coming home playing the big shot because I didn't want Mama to know. By then we found out that Mama has cancer, but I can't know. And I had pounds and pounds of stuff in the house, and Mama happened to wake up. Came in the bedroom where we all were. And when she saw that, she lost her holy mind. Smashed everything, threw it all over the carpet. I was screaming in the floor, "Mama, that cost! Get out of my house!" She was going off. There are many pivotal moments that occurred in my life should have told me that perhaps you might need some help. But I call it the four gospels of Alcoholics Anonymous. One of them says, probably no human power. The other one says, only an act of providence. One says, apart from divine, and then the other one says, without help. I call them the four gospels of AA. When you get to that point, it's kind of like busting a pimple or something. You got to apply the right kind of pressure so the head can come out of there. Here I am now suffering with intellectual seizures, emotional epilepsy, can't get it together. I used to hear him say, change I must or die I will. Mama was gone, and when Mama died, before she died, I wouldn't go see her. I had been on PCP and LSD and alcohol all at the same time, trying to blot out Mama and what I'd done. And when Mama died, that was the first bankruptcy. When she died. Then I had a brother when I was here, because I fled the country then. Mama died, I fled. And 40 years ago, I came here, Sheffield, North Carolina State, until I drank myself out of that. There is a ABC store right across on Western Boulevard. That was my store. I had to make sure I got there for 9. I had my own shift. I had it there. I had it all. And I burned it all down. Then they called me and said, man, your brother just been shot in a drive-by. Left side of the brain. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, yeah. They said, no, you need to sit down. So I sits down, and they tell me he ain't gonna live, they're waiting on you. Immediately I went to my solution, which was my bottle. And so from the time over off of Riley Boulevard, off of King Charles Road, is where my mother's oldest brother lived. And I drank, but the problem was still there. And I drank, and the problem was still there. And I said, I know what it is. I ain't got the other. So by the time I made it to Monroe, Louisiana, I'm doing this and that. And while my brother is still lying there, hadn't even pulled the plug on him, I'm yet trying to get there. When they pull the plug, I lose my mind. They call the cops. I'm fighting cops and all of that kind of stuff. Fighting the family, fighting everybody. So I fled. Again. After getting a welding job in Alabama, smoked myself, drank myself out of there into 7-degree weather. I finally made it back to Louisiana. Making it back to Louisiana, for the first time, I tried suicide. But what's so crazy about suicide? I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to feel it. So I said to myself, I'm black. They can't see me if I lay down in the middle of the interstate. Now, mind you, I did that. But the whole time I laid down, I was doing this. Nothing came by the grace of God. Got up, went to the railroad tracks. Nothing came. Then I got ready to leap off into the river. And then that was in 1994. My first time in Alcoholics Anonymous. I knew it worked. But there was not utter defeat. It wasn't until I burnt up 2 marriages, federal jobs and state jobs, 2 homes, my ministry, did it all. And so I packed up my things in June of 2019. Left my home, left it out, just left it. And in 4 months, I was already living in the woods of Raleigh, North Carolina. And on that fatal day, I threw away the last Walter. And the thought of trying to fix me, I threw it away. I piled it all in one lick, and all I heard through the fog was, "One more, and you are going to die." So I moved with fear. And across the street was my mechanic, whose brother had gone through that same place down in Raleigh called Healing Transitions. He had watched me the whole time. I used to be a diesel mechanic as well, sold off all the tools, everything. And moving in fear, I came here in a Cadillac DeVille. I gave it away. All I wanted to do was get wherever I needed to go, because if I didn't get there, I would die. And people on the other end say, "Well, can you drive?" I said, "Drive? I'm not coming if I drive. I'm going to the dope man. I'm not coming." I had already killed Melissa. I had some more things that I could set off to get what I wanted if I wanted to do that. But I was at a standstill. Something down on the inside held me close. And when I put that last thing like that and I got over to the treatment center, had a little peace, y'all. Now here's where God does for me what I cannot do for myself. He'd already said, "One more, you're going to die." So I'm holding on to my stuff. I'm hiding because they search you. They search your bag. They do all. I'm hiding everything. Hid the lighters and hid all this stuff. I know I could. I waited till everybody guys to go to sleep in detox. Now y'all know in most of those institutions like that, they like prison. They open bays. You can't hide nothing. So I go into the corner, still trying to do one more. Pull out the lighter, and ain't no damn fluid in it. And all I heard was another small voice say, "Now get up and just throw it away." Real simple suggestion. When I took that action, I laid down like a fat baby. When I woke up, my obsession was gone. And then there is a group session 13 that talks about the God of your understanding. And he was coming, Justin. He was about to bust out of me like the alien. And I was begging him, "Please don't let them know who I truly am." Nobody's going to like me. Don't. And out of my mouth came a kind of power. I call it ethereal fire. An internal flame. And the worst thing you can do to a blind man is rearrange his furniture. That's what the awakening does. The awakening rearranges your internal furniture. The reason why we talk about foxhole prayers, it ain't that they wasn't prayers, it's just that they were out of alignment. The book says we didn't rightly pray. Then it says, because we were not rightly aligned. We did not rightly relate ourselves. I never saw, when I came back, I didn't see words like, if you are planning to stop, and all behind it says altogether. You throw that in there. And we just assume that everybody that comes in these rooms want to quit doing whatever it is they want to do. That ain't what Bill them did. The third man, if you read it in the back of your big book, Bill asked him, do you want to quit? He said, now, I don't care what you want to do. That's your thing. Do what you want to do. If you don't want to quit, we can go talk to somebody else. But we have a way by which we can quit. And this is one of the ways by passing it on. But if you want to quit, and then he asked him, do you believe in a higher power? And then he asked him, are you willing to go to that higher power and ask for help? And then he throwed another one in there, without a reservation. That's in the third step, right? It says you can voice it, as long as I voice it without reservation. And so that's what happened. He came out of my chest like the hawk. You know how an old David Banner used to be? They'd be beating him up, he'd just, he gone off. The awakening is an overdose of gamma radiation. And it starts to work. It's kind of like Popeye. Popeye and olive oil. But Bluto was the disease. And he beat Popeye to death. Until Popeye says, I have stood all I can stuss, and I can't stance no more. And if you ever watch the cartoon, you don't never see Popeye put the spinach down on the inside. It's already there. That's page 55. Deep down on the inside is the fundamental idea. Fundamental is foundational principle. Idea means that which is derived from your thinking, natural or spiritual. And then it says stuff like, rarely have we seen a person fail, thoroughly follow, come under the authority of, path, code of conduct. So am I coming under the authority of the spiritual principles? If you get these three here, then you can enjoy the other 33. Because there are actually 36 principles. But I need this. If I cannot get the unity part down, I cannot get the recovery part down. If I cannot get the recovery part down, I cannot get the service part down. It's kind of like, if you ever watched The Wildebeest, and when they head to the Marseille River on their great migration, Babies are given birth, they come out running because mama done already told them, look at here, the lions, the hyenas, the wild dogs, and they say, baby, stay in the middle, because if you mess around and get to the outside of the pack, you dinner. And they keep going. So they tell us to get a sponsor with the working knowledge. And the first time I heard the word sponsor, the old man told me it is nothing but a sober person offering newcomers suggestions on recovery. That's what he told me. I was wondering why he had it doing all of this stuff. Why I got to do all that? Why ain't nobody else? Because I came through there smoking in the room, cigarette butts and all that. Why I got to do all that? And I found out you keep what you have by giving it away. And if you have been made alive, what you have does not belong to you. It's in the family afterward, y'all. It's a father is like a God prospector. Pickaxe finally struck gold. And he's trying to keep it all to himself. He's rarely scratched the surface of a limitless load, which will pay dividends if he mines it for the rest of his life and then give it all away. You cannot pour into anyone that which has not been poured into you. There are many people around AA, but not in AA. There is a difference. Your life will change tremendously. Step 11 talks about prayer and meditation makes for an unshakable foundation. Prayer has to be with precision, not with whatever. Whatever is undefined. No farmer plants with whatever. He plants with intention of a specific outcome. If my prayer is vague, then my harvest is confusion. If my prayer is precise and intentional, then my harvest is manifestation. Prayer, you got to have it. It's like the bullets. It's the ammo. But all ammo don't fit the same gun, y'all. And all prayer don't fit the same situation. Whatever it is you got going on, you need to find something that will hit the courtroom. You legislate it, you judicial it, and say, now look, my child is such and such and such and such, and you said, see, I'm legislating now. I'm getting precise about what it is that I'm looking for. See, when I was out there, I never really prayed and asked God to help me. I'd ask him to make sure the dope man was there. Make sure I can get me some more alcohol. I never asked him to help me. And then usually I trust that there is. I believe in God's power, but I never trusted God's decisions. And so now he says, I need you to go to the treatment center. I need you to go back up there and talk to these guys. And so I do what you call a 3-5-7. Step 3, step 5, step 7. It works for me that way. I've lost it all on tradition 6 before. The ambitions, the property, the prestige, I lost all of that. And so now, there are the four hardest words to pray and to actually even walk in it. It's called, thy will be done. We say it just because it's just, when we pray the sick man's prayer, oh Lord, save me from being angry, Lord, thy will be done. I don't believe that, but we want to beat it. Whoever it is that pissed us off, we're ready to do him something. It's a process of rearranging your furniture. And usually the area of my hurt is not the area where I got the problem. I might kick my toe and say my toe hurt, but that's not the problem. The problem is I'm blind. So if selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of my problem, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-this, self-that, the juggernaut. Y'all know the X-Men could not touch the juggernaut unless they took his helmet off. His helmet was his power. And so I believe that today, that by staying in the middle, by continuing to grow spiritually, by continuing to help someone without looking for anything in return, he gives me my oil. He said we should play the Samaritan every day. And if you ever go and read it, the Samaritan had something that the other two people didn't have. He had oil and he had wine. The people that should have had it, the church, they ain't have a damn thing. They just looked at the man. But the Samaritan had the oil and he had the wine. And I ain't nothing but a letter sent by God. By my actions, my behaviors, and my speeches, am I to demonstrate the 12 principles of Alcoholics Anonymous and their transforming power. That's all I am. I ain't nothing. I'm just hardwired by grace today. And when I got tired of failing, it's all right to fail, but you're not a failure. It's all right to stumble, just stumble upstairs and not downstairs. Keep your hand in somebody's hand who is connected. I'll leave you with this. Two men were on the boat to Niagara Falls. And a great wave hit them and threw them overboard. And once the people realized they were overboard, and as they were drifting out to Niagara Falls, a great log came. But by this time, the people on the shore drifted a small, thin rope. And they both grabbed the rope. But when that large log came by, one of the men let the rope go and grabbed a hold of the log. And he went on into the abyss of destruction. I wonder why. Because the log was not connected to anything. But the rope was. It was connected to the people that were on the shore that could pull him to safety. Get your sponsor. Get connected. And hold the rope. Death is coming. Sure, it's coming. I've had several deaths. I had death sitting on the porch in Valley meeting one night. My sister has a heart attack. 1 minute, and I go, okay. They open the meeting. The next minute, they call me back and say, she gone. I said, okay. I called Jerry, and I told him, and he said, well, how you feel about that? I said, you know, deep down on the inside, I'm unmoved by it. He said, well, don't let nobody else tell you you're supposed to feel any different. We have an awakening that'll take us beyond death, that'll take us through sickness, that'll take us through pain, that'll take us through all kinds of things. Because the book tells me there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. I'm through talking.